No heroics into Sandoval, please.
Cheers, Jeff.
Hey guys, it's James here. Welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode video. We are here for episode number 17 of Season 2 at the Russian Grand Prix. If you did miss the last episode in Singapore, make sure to go check that one out. It was our best ever race weekend. We won the race by more than 30 seconds. It was absolutely dominant, so make sure you go check that video out. But we're here for the Russian Grand Prix, obviously a circuit where we did quite well last time out, and it's just a short amount of time before we go there, so we're just going to advance time towards qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix. So here we are then for qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix, just going across and checking the setup. It's a custom Russia setup, so 2 7 wings and 55 on the differential rather than 50-50. But other than that, it's pretty similar to our golden setup. And now I'm showing you our second lap in qualifying because we had 3 laps in this session as we normally do now, and this second lap was the best of the lot, so I'll show you a tiny bit of the last lap as well. But we actually made a big mistake in the first sector and never really recovered. I think it's about 7/10 slower, but also we put the racing line just on 2D just for this event, just to see how we go. It is much more difficult, and so with the other assist that I'm turning off, I think I will actually put the racing line back on 3D. But we're going up through the first sector. We're in the green zone, which is good. We're currently in 12th, though. We need to improve on that. We'll be a full 10th up as we get through to the end of the first sector. 4 tenths up on Lando Norris this time as we run wide at turn number 5. Turn 5 is such a difficult corner to absolutely nail because it's sort of blind apex and you always seem to run wide. We're still 2.5 tenths up, though, on our previous best, using as much of the track as we possibly can there. We get a little kick of oversteer, start sliding through turn number 9, and that is quite frustrating. We've lost a bit of time flying down this left-right section, which is taken absolutely flat out. Good overtaking opportunity down in towards the very tight and tricky turn number 13. As Valtteri Bottas said on Drive to Survive Season 3, the best place to start in Russia is either pole position or 3rd place. So they'll be the 2 spots on the grid that we'll be eyeing up, as we're almost 4 tenths up on our previous best. So hopefully this shoots us up the order. Obviously the midfield is very tight, and then the top 3 teams are Red Bull, JNS Racing and Mercedes. Well over, or it was half a second, yeah, well over half a second, 6 tenths up on our previous best. So it comes across the line, it puts us in 3rd place, but obviously everyone's got their final runs to do. We've dropped down to 4th place as most people have completed their final runs. One of the Mercedes cars has pitted, so he's going to take no further part in qualifying. But where does it put us? We come across the line here in qualifying in Russia. 4th place. That's not too bad. We'll take 4th place. So having a look at the results, George just sneaks into the top 10. So he'll also have to start on the used set of soft tyres. But we're starting from 4th on the grid tomorrow, which is a pretty good place to be.
Welcome along then to Sochi and the Russian Grand Prix, one of 8 cities in the world to play host to both the Olympics and a Formula 1 race. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Alexander Albon put in a great lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, James, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Russell and Pierre Gasly, Norris, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo and Vettel, Kvyat, Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi, Grosjean, Stroll, Zhou and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then for the start of the Russian Grand Prix. Starting from 4th, it's going to be a very simple soft to medium strategy, but there'll be some heavy rain at the end of the Grand Prix. So no doubt we'll be switching onto the intermediates there. but we're going to go to 5 red lights for the start of the Russian Grand Prix here at Sochi. It is lights out and away we go. Great start for Valtteri Bottas. He'll take the lead of the Grand Prix. We're side by side with Carlos Sainz heading through the kink right for turn 1 before we blast down towards turn 2. Albon and Bottas are side by side. We're going to make it 3 wide down towards the first corner, and down the inside of the both we go, and we take the lead of the Russian Grand Prix from 4th on the grid. That is a super start, and we are up into the lead of the race. We got a good launch off the line, was sucked into the slipstream of Valtteri Bottas, lunged it down the inside, no contact made, a very clean start, and we are up into the lead of the race. That is a super getaway, and we know just how important track position is here in Russia, because it is quite tricky to overtake around here, except down into turn number 2. So that is a stunning start, and that is so important that we've taken the lead. But we are coming under some threat from Alexander Albon. Just 2.5 tenths separate myself and the Red Bull driver. Obviously, Red Bull are our biggest constructors target. We're currently sitting 3rd in the constructors. We are a little way behind them, but after that win in Singapore, we got some excellent points for the team, so hopefully we can build on that success and sneak 2nd place from them. Go a little bit too deep into turn number 13, but luckily Alexander Albon has no answers to that. It's quite difficult to keep control of the car here. The rear seems to be sliding around on all sorts on these worn set of the soft compound tyre that we used, of course, in qualifying. George is currently down in 8th place, so he's gained a couple of positions off the start as well, which is promising. Hopefully he can slice his way through the field. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, the first person across the line, and one of the Renaults is in the pits, probably with a broken front wing as well. But we have a look at the replay of the start. It was an absolutely stunning start. Great start for Valtteri Bottas as well. He got into the lead of the race. Obviously, the left-hand side of the grid looks to be the better side of the grid as we got past Carlos Sainz, then got into the slipstream of Bottas, pulled out the slipstream quite early, and then just lunged it down the inside of the other two. No contact made, and we swept up into the lead of the race. What a super start. We cut now on to lap number 2. We've set 2 purple sectors. We're about 6 tenths quicker than Alexander Albon at the moment. It's fluttering around 6 or 7 tenths or so, and we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix again, so hopefully we're just slicing our way ahead of Alexander Albon. The gap, though, is still less than a second, so Albon will have DRS subsequently, which is extremely frustrating. Cut onto lap number 3. Albon is very close behind. We are really struggling on this set of the soft compound of tyre, which is extremely frustrating. We almost make a bit of contact with the wall there as we are still struggling, and that's sucking in Valtteri Bottas into the fight on lap number 5. He's also got the DRS on us and also on Alexander Albon. We're going to come under some serious threat. Albon has a little look down into turn number 13. Can he make it more than just a little look? But no, he doesn't stick his nose down the inside, and so we are safe. We cut onto lap number 6, and Bottas and Albon are still so close behind. We get a huge kick of oversteer off the curb. Albon sneaks his nose in down towards turn number 15, but luckily we fend him off. That could have been absolutely disastrous for Albon if he'd bumped across the curb and bumped into us. That would have no doubt spelt some damage. On lap number 8, Valtteri Bottas has got past Alexander Albon. Then we probably need to get rid of these soft tyres as soon as we possibly can. We are absolutely woeful at the moment. We don't seem to have any pace. So yes, on lap number 9, we're going to get rid of these soft compound tyres. Go on to the mediums. The mediums will have no problems getting to the rain period. Obviously, you can see it's already starting to cloud over. Where did the beautiful blue sky go? Valtteri Bottas is just 3 tenths behind us. We peel into the pits. We're bailing out. We're going to do hopefully an undercut. It worked so successfully for us around Sochi last year. We almost stick it in the pit wall as well. That would be really embarrassing to fly into the pit wall and perhaps pick up some damage. George still sitting in 8th place. He's stuck in this train led by Carlos Sainz, who hasn't really been the same since his superb qualifying that put him in the top 3. Obviously, we jumped him at the start, as long as we're jumping Bottas and Albon. But into the pit for our stop. Hopefully, we come out in a bit of clean air. 1.9 second pit stop from the team. That is absolutely rapid. So we'll probably come out ahead of Kimi Räikkönen and behind Romain Grosjean. But still, we've caught up to Grosjean on lap number 10. Look how dark it's getting. The rain is no doubt quite close, so perhaps if we'd started on the mediums, we might have been able to extend that stint all the way to the rain delay, but none of the AI, I don't think, have started on the mediums, but we've caught up to Grosjean. We're in the slipstream. We'll be using DRS. We'll be using the ERS as well. Perhaps maybe not Rich Mix because we won't need it. We should just blast past Roman Grosjean. We pull to the outside, which is the racing line, and around the outside of the Haas car we go. We haven't really had a single battle with Haas this season, but also we're 1.6 seconds ahead of Bottas as he come out of the pit lane. So that is extremely important. The undercut has worked quite well. Cut onto lap number 12. Everybody else is pitting. So we're up into 5th place, but none of the people ahead of us have made a stop yet. So that's Stroll, Giovinazzi, Kevin Magnussen as well hasn't made a stop. So if there was a safety car now, I have to say these guys would be right in there, and they'd definitely be in a super position to jump up many places as well. I'm still chasing after Antonio Giovinazzi on lap number 12. We're very, very close behind him and Stroll. These fresh medium compound tyres are working well, but we are stuck behind Giovinazzi to a point where Valtteri Bottas has gained half a second on us in this lap, which is very frustrating. We've been very much held up by the Italian driver and Lance Stroll. They all peel into the pits now, as does the Renault car and Kevin Magnussen. Esteban Ocon in the pits. But on lap number 13 now, we are in the lead of the Grand Prix again, but rain is on the way. It's getting so dark now, it's actually getting quite difficult to see. And as we come underneath this bridge, we get a big spray of water coming down from the bridge. And that on this game is often a signal for the rain to begin. And yes, you can just see spats of rain coming down now. Cut onto lap number 15. The rain is getting a lot heavier. And Valtteri Bottas is so close behind. No DRS being disabled yet. We're using lean mix just to keep the car on the circuit, because using rich mix is just making the car slip and slide everywhere. Bottas gets within 2/10, but he's not quite close enough as we sort of bump across turn number 2. And now on lap number 16, it's got to be time for a set of the intermediate tyre. These tyres aren't very worn, but they are going cold on the wet surface of the track. And here comes Valtteri Bottas. To the outside he goes. The Mercedes driver trying to retake the lead. We hold it down the inside and we stay in first place. That is absolutely crucial. But this car is slip and sliding. DRS has been disabled. So we're going to go into the pits. Everybody else is going to follow us into the pits. Alexander Albon snuck past Bottas down into turn number 13 as well. We almost spear into the pit wall again. These tyres are becoming so cold. It's so difficult to see anything. But yes, everybody seems to be coming in for a pit stop now. Nobody would be gambling on the slick tyres when the rain is coming down as heavily as it is now. So we'll be double stacking the JNS racing cars, as will everybody else be double stacking. Hopefully we get another 1.9 second pit stop. 2.0, that's another super stop from the team. And we've extended that gap out to Alexander Albon just a little bit. But yes, up in the lead of the Grand Prix with 11 laps to go. Cut to lap number 19. It's so tricky to control the car through turn number 4. The car is slip and sliding everywhere. We've even got more rear downforce than we normally would on our setup. We're going side by side with Albon. He tried to snick it down the inside of turn number 4. He's got past. We try and swoop all the way around the outside of turn number 5. And we've got back up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Albon nipped down the inside of turn number 4. And then we snuck it back up the inside. Sorry, swept around the outside of turn number 5. But now we are really, really struggling on these intermediate tyres. Look at the rain flying down. Perhaps it might be time for some full wet tyres. This downpour is absolutely pelting down. Where did the beautiful weather go on lap number 1? Seems like a long time ago we made that absolutely stunning start to take the lead. Look just how dark and wet it is. Alexander Albon is less than 100th of a second behind, as we are absolutely crawling through turn number 4. It's so difficult to get any traction. This car is not behaving very well in the rain. We saw, obviously, we didn't score points when we had that huge accident at Zandvoort in the wet. But the rain is absolutely pelting down at the moment. We're a full second ahead to Alexander Albon, though, so we managed to extend the gap out a little bit with just 4 laps to go. But it's so difficult. Hopefully the rain will ease up soon, because on these intermediate tyres that are getting quite worn as well, it is so difficult to keep the car controlled through turn number 4. Normally this is absolutely flat out. I'm having to hit the brake through the middle of the corner. Lifting off, we're only going 150 miles an hour or so. And we cut onto lap number 25 now. 2.5 laps to go. The gap to Albon is 8/10. We're still slip and sliding as we head to one of the trickiest braking zones on the circuit. Braking at the 150 metre board. In the dry, we brake around the 80 or 90 metre mark. But it just goes to show just how wet it is. The rain is easing up a little bit from the absolute downpour of laps 21 to 23. But look at the train that's formed behind us with Valtteri Bottas, Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen joining the show as well. All in the train that's just stuck behind me, because we have good pace on the straights as our engine is quite powerful. but we are absolutely no pace through the corners. Remember what we saw in Spain, we had absolutely no pace in the wet as well. And we had a pretty dismal performance there, but we're just holding on with all of our life going into the last lap of the race. Can we hold on to what will be our 4th Grand Prix win of the season? This one perhaps probably the worst performance, but it doesn't matter how you win the race so long as you're the first person to see the checkered flag. The stunning start put us in first position at the end of the first straight, and it's a lead that we haven't receded. We've had scraps the whole way through this Grand Prix, but we're just about going to fend off any challenges. We come out of the final corner to win the Russian Grand Prix by just a couple of tenths of a second, but we've won the Grand Prix. What a super performance after a superb start.
The faces on our top 3 look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
That was the Russian Grand Prix. We took home our 4th win of the season, and George ended up in 10th place. So we did gain on Red Bull by 2 points in the constructors' standings as well. Every point will matter going into the final 5 races of the season. And looking at the driver's standings, we're 43 points off Valtteri Bottas for 2nd, and we're 41 points off Red Bull in the constructors for 2nd as well. But guys, if you did enjoy this start, that was a super start, make sure to like the video. We just blasted up into the lead of the Grand Prix, going down the inside of Carlos Sainz into the first corner, and then we made it 3 wide with Bottas and Albon flying down towards the first big braking zone, and it was a lead that we never gave up, even coming under some serious pressure when the rain started to fall. Subscribe if you are new around here and you want to see twice weekly Formula 1 content, and I will catch you at the Japanese Grand Prix next up. Later, guys.